Alright, so we're going to be talking about the Beast King in this one. He's the lion-looking dude from the House of Evolution that takes on Saitama in episode 2 of the anime, or chapter 8 of the manga. And while he comes and goes pretty quickly, I still want to take a look at him because I feel that he was way more powerful than what you probably thought, and he does have some kind of significant feats to him, and I think it's pretty interesting, so let's get into it. So you might be thinking, well, we know how strong this guy is. He's disaster level demon. Well, that is true because the data book does classify this guy as a demon. But we also have to remember that he is rated as the second strongest member of the House of Evolution, right behind Carnage friggin' Kabuto. But also, Armored Gorilla is rated number 3 of the strongest in the House of Evolution. And Armored Gorilla is also a disaster level demon, at least according to the data book. Now, Armored Gorilla was defeated by Genos in the same little sequence that Beast King was. And Genos, he's not really a high demon yet, or at least I don't think he was. This is Season 1 Genos, before he even got the G4 upgrades and all that stuff. So he was probably mid-demon level. And it seems like he kind of, mid-diffed Armored Gorilla. And given that he is number 3 and Beast King is number 2, we can say that Armored Gorilla is between low demon and mid demon, somewhere around there. So I think this is for sure telling us that Beast King is above at least mid demon, and I'm thinking he's more towards the high demon range of power, at least just base. His standard, just him walking around, he's probably a high demon. Considering that Carnage Kabuto starts off as just a dragon, and then when he goes into Carnage mode, he's definitely high dragon at that point. But that he's number 2 to that, I think he's got to be a high demon at least. And now I want to go into his feats, because I think that's going to prove it. But then there's more to him than just that. So let's go into his main method of attack, which is the Lion Slash, which is probably going to give us a really good insight into how powerful he could be once we start comparing it to things. And this is coming from his claws, which he can extend, and I'll go more into that. But just in the anime, we see that he's slashing up a huge house building, no problem, it's a piece of cake or something. And it doesn't even seem like he's making contact with it, given the distance between him and Saitama, so it's the Air Force or whatever, cutting through it pretty easily. But the anime kind of sells this short, because we don't get, the perspective of this attack that we do in the manga. So yeah, it's still impressive in the anime, but in the manga we see it's not only cutting up that building, but it's also cutting up the building on the side of it. It's also cutting up the buildings behind it too. And the thing that we can compare this to the most is Neon's feline retribution, which we see full on display in chapter 118. And they're both coming from claws, from monsters, and as I said, Beast King can extend his claws and Neon can do the same thing. Now, granted, Neon is a dragon, at least a certified one, and Beast King was stated to just be a demon, but they are comparable in the output of their attacks and the damage that they do, because Neon is cutting up buildings the same way that Beast King is. Now, if you really want to compare them, the damage that Neon is doing in chapter 118 seems to be larger than what Beast King is initially doing with his first Lion Slash. But the end result of them seem to be very similar. They're both cutting up buildings into very similar pieces, and they're both very clean cuts. Now, is what Neon is doing in chapter 118 bigger than what Beast King is doing? Probably, but it's comparable, like I said. They're relative, if you will. So does that mean Beast King is a dragon? Well, no, but I think it means that he's definitely a high demon. I mean, if any monster is capable of even coming close to replicating the feats of Neon, especially from chapter 118, which is him giving an earnest effort, because he is fighting Dragonite after all, I think that's indicative of what a high demon is capable of. Now, after this, he goes on to strike Saitama and he evades these slashes. So does that mean that Saitama had to evade these slashes? Well, also, Saitama evaded Flashy Flash's initial Flashy Slash on him and his further up slashes after that. Does this mean that, Saitama has to evade things that are capable of cutting him, or else they will? I don't think so, because, Neon got a clean feline retribution in on the back of his head, and he had no problem taking that. It kind of left, just dirt marks on him. They didn't even really, pierce his skin or anything like that. So why did Saitama evade these? Probably just to show in a display of speed that he has more than anything. Like, he also caught Flashy Flash's sword, and I don't think that's because he had to. I think it's kind of just displaying how, like, crazy Saitama is more than anything, because if he had to evade these slashes, it doesn't really line up with him just effortlessly tanking the feline retribution. So now it turns out that this guy has a transformation, and in this he gets bigger and more muscular, and he's already pretty big. He's like 22 feet tall already. So does this mean that he is becoming more powerful? Well, yeah, given the laws of anime, that's pretty telling of a power increase, and it probably means that his disaster level has increased as well, since you can't really have one without the other, and I'll go more into that later on. But with this transformation, he immediately does the Lion/Meteor Power Shower, which is like a crazy move, which I'm sure could wreck anyone, or almost anyone, that's not like a high S-class level hero. Now we know how powerful he at least initially was, because we already analyzed his feat before he powered up. So how fast is he? Well, it's really hard to say, but just comparing his initial speed feat against Saitama before he powers up, it looks very similar to the way that his dodging speed feat against Flashy Flash is. Now, so, I mean, the Beast King is as fast as Flash? No. Flashy Flash is so fast that it appears that, like, time has stopped, at least in Chapter 96. And I don't think a high demon like Beast King is that fast, given that would mean Carnage Kabuto is as fast as Flashy Flash, and that's probably not the case. But given that is getting even faster, because we've established that he's probably stronger and probably faster as well, given that he is powered up, he is moving faster now. So I'm just going to say, given that they're emphasizing how fast this is, that Saitama is moving super fast in order to evade all of this, he's probably really fast. Like, maybe even faster than, like, Deep Sea King, which was already absurdly fast. So just take that for what you will, but he's not slow by any means. And given that just one Lion/Slash completely wrecked that house building and then the surrounding pieces of building around it, that was just before he powered up. And now that he's powered up and he's like throwing like a volley of these slashes, imagine what collateral damage that would do. I mean, I'm sure he's wiping out like a couple blocks of the city. I don't know. I mean, it's really your guess, but just imagine how powerful that could be. And I think given that he is powered up, he's probably like in above demon territory right here. I think at the minimum he's there. I don't think he's a dragon, because it's way too hard to tell if he really is. But just given that he was very likely a high demon before he powered up, and given what he's doing now, he's got to be like one of those above demons out there. Now, I didn't talk about this guy in my original above demon video, because I didn't really analyze him the way that I am now, but I'm thinking he's like certified fringe dragon above demon at this point. So now let's go into his durability, which is also pretty hard to say given that we don't see much of it. But given that he is second in the House of Evolution and, you know, high demon, and once he transforms goes into above demon fringe dragon territory, he's probably pretty durable. I mean, he's no chump in that department. But he is taken out by a consecutive normal punch, which is pretty different for Saitama to use against anyone who's not like a certified dragon or anything like that. So that's pretty interesting. Now, did Saitama have to use consecutive normal punches to take this guy out? Probably not. I think one solid normal punch could have done the deed, since we have to remember one solid normal punch, at least named normal punch, took out friggin' Orochi, and I don't think Beast King, even powered up, is on the level of durability of Orochi. So what I really think happened here was that Saitama did the consecutive normal punch just for one, to show us that he has that type of move in his arsenal. Because, you know, before this, he was only really doing like one punch and stuff like that. I mean, granted, this is the very beginning of the series, but I think he just wanted to really illustrate the type of arsenal and, you know, how comical and really, like, bland at the same time, because it's just consecutive normal punches, but at the same time, it's like a cool way to show a volley of punches, you know, that typical anime trope, like the Gumu Gumu Gatling and stuff like that. So this is like Saitama's version of that. But yeah, that's why he did this to the Beast King. And yeah, he is completely splattered by this, but, you know, also it is consecutive normal punches after all. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about the Beast King. I felt like he was kind of underrated. And also, given what we've seen of Neon, backtrack his feats to the Beast King, I think it shows that he was pretty darn powerful, especially, like, given that he was just a demon. And we go, to his power-up form, I think it's fair to say that he's, above demon. But that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you thought about this one. Let me know what you think, how strong the Beast King was. Do you think he was above demon or a fringe dragon or whatever? But if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day.